Tarble was born 2 years before Kakarot. The king was relatively glad to see his second-born not being a complete weakling. 2 years later, when Tarble grew up a little, he realizes all his hopes were kind of in vain, as Tarble has underperformed in combat way more than the king expected. He spoke with the queen to send Tarble away as to relieve him of the trouble of conquering violent planets and just send him to a planet where the power level is really low. Vegeta picked a planet outside of Frieza's empire, but he didn't tell Frieza about it. Tarble was then told he has a small trip to go to. The scheme was pretty straightforward. Program the ship to start malfunctioning inside of the solar system and then settle on Earth. That happened and Tarble was stranded in an unknown location, so he decided to fight for his life. From this point on, the story begins normally, with Goku being born as per usual and sent away by Bardock and Gine to save him. On Earth, Tarble is getting accustomed to his current life, with scattered transmission is incoming, saying planet Vegeta is no more. He lost all his hope to be saved and just began living normally. He decides to find some intelligent life forms as he begins his journey to the west. As night came around and the sun settled down, Tarble has been walking for ages, so he decides to take a quick break, cooking up a dinosaur tale before sleep time. He is then found by Gohan. Tarble is absolutely ecstatic he finally has someone to talk to other than himself as the two begin talking. Tarble, being a child, explains how he is a Saiyan and from a planet called Vegeta. Gohan tried to catch it all up but got confused halfway through, not believing the child. Tarble then whips his tail out, proving his claims and telling him about the Great Ape transformation and many other legends. Gohan is shocked and amazed he's had a conversation with an alien this entire time, but that's only the start as it begins to get a lot more weirder. A spaceship crashes down as the two feel a really massive earthquake. Tarble knows that quake from anywhere, so he tells Gohan to stay back as there might be another Saiyan coming back for him, as he doesn't want to get killed. Gohan doesn't give a shit though, and follows anyways. The pod opens as baby Kakarot starts crying. Gohan gets closer and decides that maybe this is another Saiyan baby just like Tarble, who might have escaped here or got stranded, so he takes Kakarot in. Tarble is also invited by Gramps, so now there are 2 Saiyans Gohan has to take care of. It's been quite a few years now. Kakarot was renamed to Goku since they had no name for him. Although Tarble has been complaining to Gohan about giving a Saiyan the Earthling name, but Gohan dismissed it. Goku was 11 and Tarble was 13. They were pretty much like brothers ever since the head injury incident that happened to Goku. The two were catching fish for a feast later that evening. All of a sudden, an unknown car approaches and loses control and is about to hit Tarble. Tarble just disappears before the car hits him. We see Bulma exiting the vehicle and looking around for the boy. All of a sudden, he appears right behind her and asks, where did she come from? While Bulma is scared shitless, Tarble then asks what is she doing here alone. She replies that she's seeking for the artifacts called Dragon Balls, and how they are quite rare pieces of artifacts. Goku and Tarble look at each other and then decide to ask their grandpa for help. Bulma questions the boys' tales, but Tarble just says how it's a family thing, that being the initial reason why they live here. Goku kinda confirms it and Bulma just rolls with it. They arrive at the residence and Bulma immediately notices the bright, obnoxious and orange ball sitting on a shelf. So she attempts to take it, but Goku is quick enough to just sweep it away. Bulma tells them they can have a little peek if they give her the Dragon Balls, but Gohan has a better idea. Them going with her along with the Dragon Ball to search for those Dragon Balls. The boys are quite interested in those Dragon Balls, so they ask Bulma to take them along. Bulma accepts and they start looking for the Dragon Balls. After a bit of searching, they rest and go to sleep. The next day after a shower, they come across a lost turtle and they are trying to find the shore. When they do, the turtle asks the two to wait and they do so. Turtle then returns with an old man on his back and of course it's Roshi. Bulma notices the Dragon Ball and asks for it. Roshi's lewd nature is forcing him to ask Bulma to see her underwear. Since Goku didn't pull her undies in the morning, Roshi just gets the underwear as his eye candy and not the other thing. They get the Dragon Ball and they go on their merry way. They then go into an unknown village and see the Dragon Radar beeping. They know the Dragon Ball is here, or at least close around here. After a while, they realize that Oolong is haunting the whole village from the villagers. Oolong then comes to pick up a little girl. Tarble, who is immensely more powerful than just Goku in the original, goes and catches Oolong in the act and ties him up. They then take Oolong with them on the search. They then go through the desert and Bulma is tired as always. Tarble picks her up and continues on the way, flying away. Bulma blushes, of course. They come across Yamcha and he proposes a fight. Goku accepts and punches him a new one. They then arrive at the Fire Mountain and search for the Dragon Ball there. They come across the Ox King and he takes them on. Tarble just rushes in and blocks the sword sweep by catching the sword and snapping the blade in half. Then Roshi arrives and sees the burning mountain and extinguishes it with a Kamehameha. Tarble is amazed people that can control their energy exist on this planet. Tarble shows off with his Gallic gun and impresses Roshi. Goku also impresses Roshi by copying Roshi's Kamehameha, and now Roshi is thinking about Gohan telling him about his two boys he found in the woods. Roshi is impressed and wants to train the boys. The duo accepts. After that, they go to find the rest of the Dragon Balls. They come across the Pilaf gang and they get trapped. Tarble just punches through the wall and reveals Pilaf's lair. He gets their Dragon Balls back and they summon Shenron. Bulma is hesitant about a wish. Oolong is about to make a wish, but then Tarble asks Shenron about Planet Vegeta and if it really was destroyed. Shenron says the planet indeed has been destroyed and how there are a few remaining Saiyans still alive, count them as well. Shenron leaves and Bulma is pissed he used a very stupid wish for the sake of his knowledge, but she then sees him crying. Goku goes to console Tarble. Bulma then calms down and tells him if he wanted to know, she has no issue giving him the wish orbs. Bulma then calls the two in the city to have a meal and to socialize them both. They say they need to train with Roshi, but they can't spare some time, so they go. In the city, Bulma buys them proper clothes. With both Saiyans fully dripped out for the society, they go to Bulma's house. The second they get there, Bulma is teased by her mother for bringing not one, but two boys over and asks which one is marrying her daughter. Bulma explodes as usual and says that they're here to eat, not date. Tarble remembers the desert and him carrying her and starts feeling a little uneasy. After a meal, the two Saiyans then depart towards Roshi. Goku and Tarble are on their way to Master Roshi's. Roshi accepts both of them. However, a new kid also comes with hentai and asks Roshi to train him. Of course, we're talking about Krillin. Krillin also gets accepted. However, he has to train much harder than in the original, because there are 3 of them now, and he's trying to surpass the 2 Saiyans so he can try asserting his dominance over both of them. The two then learn advanced martial arts, and Krillin gets his strength to a reasonable rate, much higher than in canon because he has 2 Saiyans on his team. After training, they go to participate in the Tenkaichi Budokai. Skipping ahead, they pass the preliminaries easily and go to the actual tournament. Everything goes pretty much as in the original until Goku and Krillin fight. Goku, being a Saiyan, enjoys the fight with Krillin, but then starts turning the tables after seeing all Krillin's gotta throw at him and surprise attacks Krillin, amazing everyone pretty much like in canon. With that, Krillin is knocked out. Then the second semi-final fight, Tarble and Jackie Chun. The fight starts and both seem to be equal, but Tarble and his power makes it hard for Roshi to keep up, so he has to rely on his electrifying attack. Tarble has nowhere to go. He then looks and sees a full moon and immediately closes his eyes. He knows he can't turn into Uzaru yet, because he doesn't know if he'll be able to control it. Tarble then goes and starts exerting his energy outwards to push the attack from him, and at the same time preparing a Gallic gun to throw at Roshi. Tarble manages to create an opening and then throws his attack. Roshi is hit by it, and with that, Roshi loses by ring out. The 2 Saiyans then began fighting, and of course Tarble is the winner. The two then eat all the prize money in a nearby restaurant. We're entering the Red Ribbon Saga, and it goes similarly, except one small advantage is that there are two of them and they pretty much one-shot all their enemies, and so Mercenary Tile is completely gone. Then we get to Fortune Terror Baba Saga, the shenanigans with the Dragon Ball and Baba's minions. Since Gohan is alive and well, he's not their opponent, but makes a cameo appearance, berating the two, but then praising them because they managed to become Roshi's students in that time. Then Shinkan Saga is around the corner and they're all preparing for the tournament coming up. Roshi suggested to the three boys they should go by themselves around the world to hone their skills even further and to train, and they do so, scattering on their own separate ways. At the tournament grounds, they meet up with Master Shen, Tenshinhan, and Chaozu. The arch rivals are Roshi. Roshi, Tarble, Krillin, and Yamcha are waiting on Goku to come from his venture. But in the meantime, there is a roast session between the Crane Hermit and Turtle Hermit. All of a sudden, Goku comes, saying how they're talking shit, but they will lose to a Saiyan. Goku realizes what he just said and just hopes they didn't realize what he said, and of course they didn't. The tournament is starting and the preliminaries go smoothly. First fight is Tien and Goku, and that ends up with Tien's broken leg, arm, and 3 ribs. Then Tarble and Jackie Chun, and that goes the same except without the ribs. Then Krillin and Chaozu. Chaozu of course uses telekinesis to give Krillin pain. Since Krillin is much more enduring, he ignores the pain and knocks Chaozu out. Tarble and Pampu ends up just like in original with Goku. Next up are Goku and Tarble, and they're pretty even this time around as well, but Tarble wins anyways with the Solar Flare. Tarble and Krillin start the fight and Tarble is victorious once more, as to no surprise. Tien then decides to form an alliance, but Tien still refuses to join the Turtle School because of his ideals. Goku remembers he left some stuff behind at the tournament grounds, and Krillin goes to pick it up. After a while, Goku is nervously waiting for Krillin to come back and realizes something is wrong and rushes to the tournament building. Goku then sees the worst possible horror. Krillin is lying on the ground, motionless. Goku comes to pick him up, but it's too late. Goku's rage is overtaking him. The Dragon Ball and the competitor list are stolen. The rest of the squad comes and mourns over the death of Krillin. Tarble is also absolutely livid. Goku, full of rage, grabs Tarble and the two depart. Tarble follows the radar, while Goku follows Tarble. They encounter Tambourine. Goku asks if he killed his bald friend, and Tambourine says he did. So without second thought, he rushes to Tambourine and punches through him. Before Tambourine dies, he tells the two kids how his father is gonna kill them. Tarble has no remorse at this point and throws a Gallic gun at them. They then depart towards the Dragon Balls. They eventually find King Piccolo and then ask him if he was in command of that green spawn they just killed. Piccolo is livid that they managed to destroy his offspring, so Piccolo goes and attacks both kids, thinking they can't possibly be stronger than him. However, both of them simply dodge all the attacks. Tarble then goes and starts pounding Piccolo quite hard. Tarble then punches through King Piccolo and leaves him to die. Piccolo spits out one last egg, which will later become Piccolo Jr. All of a sudden, someone descends. We see Yajirobe, and he asks the two boys to come along for the training. Tarble and Goku play along, and they meet Korin. Korin then tells them how there's someone called Kami all the way up in the air above him, and how he can help them train. Tarble accepts this and tells Goku to extend the power pole as said by Korin, all the way to the base of the tower, and he starts ascending to the lookout. Tarble flies next to Goku. When the pole connects, he rushes up. He meets Mr. Popo. Popo makes a proposal to fight him to see if he's worth meeting Kami. Goku soon follows as Tarble is keeping up with Popo and proves himself to meet Kami. Goku follows and sees how much he's far away from Tarble, but then gets accepted when Kami comes over to greet the two. The two then attack Popo, mistaking him for King Piccolo. They do some damage to him, but Popo and Kami eventually manage to convince the boys that he is not Piccolo, and after cooling down, Kami explains who he is and why he looks like Piccolo. The two, understanding, then apologize and accept Kami's training. Back on Earth, the squad revives everyone who was killed by King Piccolo and his minions on the request of Kami. They also mention how Goku and Tarble would be training with him for some time and not to worry. We now skip 3 years and the next Tenkaichi Budokai is up. Bulma and the squad wait on their fighters to arrive and they, of course, come flying. Bulma recognizes Tarble and then figures Goku is right next to him. Goku then removes his turban, revealing his signature hair. Bulma then comes over to Tarble and comments how they're the same height now. The rest also come and sign up for the tournament in a last moment. Everyone comments on how Goku has grown up, as opposed to Tarble. They get in and the two see Piccolo Jr. and an unknown woman who starts shouting at Goku for some reason. Tarble is also confused at first, but remembers her face from somewhere. He just can't connect it. The preliminaries go as normal, but this time King Choppa passes the preliminaries simply because Mercenary Tao is dead. The fighters then prepare for the tournament. The preliminaries go as normal. The first match is Tien and Choppa. Tien defeats him easily with no hiccups. Then Goku and the Anonymous, and after Goku proves his dominance with strength, he realizes that's Chi-Chi, the girl who he met at the Fire Mountain. Chi-Chi tells him how she's been in love with him ever since, and how she'd like to get married now. With that out of the way, Piccolo Jr. enters with Tarble, and the two begin fighting. Tarble wanted to use the Mafuba right away to seal Piccolo away on the request of Kami's, but wanted to play it out a little longer until he knows he's in danger. However, Tarble just ends up toying with Piccolo Jr. Goku states how Tarble has always been stronger than him and that even he could defeat Piccolo. Piccolo overheard this and reacted accordingly by going into his giant form. There's one major flaw with that form though. Although its massive size, the power level is the same as well as being a lot of pain. Tarble wanted to go and transform into a great ape so badly to assert his dominance, but decides not to and land critical blows instead all over the place until Piccolo fell on the ground and reverted back to his normal state. Kami attempted to kill Piccolo, but Goku and Tarble intervened how he shouldn't, as Goku gave him a senzu. Tarble got scared Piccolo would try something again, but Piccolo just fled, saying how he will destroy them the next time and then dominate the entire world. The two Saiyans then fought and Goku was quite literally on par with Tarble as the two began fighting. Goku and Tarble both start the fight off right away, charging into each other with a flurry of blows. After a few scuffles, Goku is left a bit out of breath while Tarble remains in top form. Realizing that he's outclassed a little, Goku listens to Popo's and Kami's advice, and now both are fighting on par with each other. Tarble then closes his eyes and jumps in the air as Goku was about to punch him. Goku followed but ended up regretting it as Tarble managed to surprise him with a Gallic gun, bringing him crashing to the arena floor. Goku was completely done for as he laughed on the ground. Tarble then landed outside the arena, taking the microphone and announcing the winner, Goku. Goku was happy he won, but sad the fight didn't go further. With the tournament done, they go celebrate along with Kami, asking the boys if any one of them would like to be Earth's guardian. Both of them declined, picked up their respective women, and fled home. We are now in the Saiyan Saga, 5 years after Piccolo Jr.'s saga, and Goku goes to Kame house with a kid. Krillin, Bulma, Gohan, Roshi, and Tarble get out to see Goku. Goku then introduces the squad to Gohan Jr. They ask about the name and he then explains how he wanted to name him after the person who is the closest to him. They then point out the tail and Goku just says that it's normal since he also has a tail. Another kid comes rushing out towards Gohan Jr. and starts having small chatter as they begin playing together. Goku looks on in total disbelief, looking at Tarble and asking him if that's his. Bulma and Tarble get closer and explain what has happened in the past 5 years. However, Tarble senses something isn't right and senses a very high power level far away from here and wonders if it's Piccolo going at it, because if he is, there's no way in the world to beat him now. But that's not really who they meet. Raditz arrives in front of the Kame house and the Z fighters rush out to see a tall Saiyan standing right in front of them. All of a sudden,
"Well, hello, Prince Tarble, brother. So nice of you to be here.
Judging by your tail, I can tell you're a Saiyan.
I'm Raditz, at your service.
This is either gonna get really ugly or really stupid. There's no in between with hardcore Saiyans.
Depends on how you want to look at it, brother. Now on to the thing. We have a new mission Vegeta thought you will enjoy doing.
I'm not interested in any missions. I'm not gonna become cold-blooded like you.
Let's say it involves Frieza.
Even worse.
Not helping him. Taking the motherfucker out. He destroyed our home.
Wait, what? Could someone fill me in on what's been going on? I'm confused.
Listen, brother. I came for you two idiots so we go take down Frieza. If you even remember him. As for our planet, yes, it got destroyed by Frieza's meteor. Simply put, he destroyed it because he pushed out the idea a Super Saiyan will be born soon and will be of great use to him. As far as we can know, it can be either one of us. So we're just going to every planet with possible Frieza Force signals coming from it and going there while keeping it low. We can make this planet be the safe house, cause it's the safest so far.
So what now? We wait or we go?
Nah, I have coordinated with 2 more Saiyans that I work with. Vegeta, Nappa, we ready for another one or what? Sure, awaiting orders. All we need is a mission. They're coming.
With that, Raditz gets accustomed to the Earth life as the 2 other Saiyans are coming towards Earth. 4 days before their arrival, they call Raditz.
Hey, Raditz, we might have found an assignment.
Great! Regroup at our last location.
Raditz then prepares them a safe house for landing. They eventually land, get cozy, and start plotting.
So this is where father sent you, huh, Tarble?
No, I crash landed here and got stuck here ever since.
No, father sent you away here on purpose. He even plotted quite a plan to get rid of you. You were weak for him, so he just sent you here.
So, all my hopes and dreams were in vain? The planet got destroyed and the only few Saiyans remaining are all of us here?
Well, there's one more. Raditz. They said they managed to pick up another signal, which may be Paragus, a renegade Saiyan who escaped after his son, to a planetoid called Vampa apparently. Yeah, since him and my father had quite the history, I have no idea how it'll turn out. Hey, Frieza's going to planet Namek. What are we gonna do? We can travel, but not everyone can travel. We need a ship to get there, and some ships are broken.
Yeah, mine and Goku's are broken.
You still call him Goku? I told you his name is Kakarot.
Yeah, okay. In any case, we can't all go. But someone might help. Tarble, your wife can build us a spaceship, right? That's true. She can do it. We can even give her a ship for reference of the specs we need.
You're not so useless after all. Alright then, we're gonna wait a bit longer. Destroy all scouters but one and listen in on the transmissions. We're gonna leave our balls on the ground training since the planet's gravity is too weak. So we're gonna have to improvise. Don't tell me we're gonna nearly kill each other again. Yes, we are. Alright then, it's settled.
And with that, they begin their training and listening to broadcasts, while Bulma is making them all a ship. With the ship now done, they are now ready to go. The rest of the Z fighters decide to go too. The rest consult with Popo and get the Namekian spaceship, while the Saiyans take Bulma's one. They all depart. Yamcha, Roshi, and Tien stay on Earth just in case. While traveling, Piccolo is training young Trunks and Gohan for Namek. They land on one of Frieza's planets and announce their return, by annihilating all life on the planet. Goku and Tarble are kind of reluctant to kill, but they do damage the enemies. They then depart towards Namek. They land on Namek and Piccolo is surprised that this is home planet. They sense Frieza almost immediately, but waited out a little more. They decide to grab at least one Dragon Ball before they actually figure out what he's here for. The Saiyans are trying to fight Frieza right away, so Goku, Tarble, Vegeta, and Nappa go confront Frieza. They land right next to Frieza and they have a small conversation.
Well, hello, Frieza. We're here to take you down.
Oh, Monkey came to die?
No, we came to kill a cum-stained lizard. We hear that's you.
You got the wrong person. I'm way more powerful than you, monkeys.
Let's test that theory.
Goku initiates a fight then and there. Frieza's first form doesn't stand a chance against Goku. Frieza then transforms and after a bit of fighting, he still doesn't get a hit. He then goes all out in his final form. Only my father has pushed me this far.
Wow. Too bad it's just a slight power up.
We'll see about that.
Frieza is now becoming a challenge for Goku. In fact, he's mopping the floor with Goku. Tarble and Vegeta join in on a fight too, but manage to do nothing except get in the way of Frieza. The Saiyans are actually now on the ground, left to die as Frieza leaves the scene to find the last Dragon Ball Z fighters actually stole from Frieza. Tarble gets up and tells Krillin and Piccolo to get to Frieza's spaceship to get the Saiyans to heal up. Raditz also comes on the scene and sees what's going on, then proceeds to drag Tarble along to get healed too. On the way they encountered Guru, and both of them managed to get their potential unlocked. Raditz was a bit dense when it came to it, but Guru got it done for him. Guru told them that they must protect the Dragon Balls at all costs, and that now that they're stronger, they might stand a chance. Raditz is hopeful with Guru's words, but Tarble then says,
Not true.
I sense what the cum-stain has in store.
You might have not sensed it, but he spiked in power rapidly during the fight. He's heavily suppressed. We need a miracle to happen.
Wait, you don't mean to say...
Yes, this planet has all the info we need. An unrivaled Super Saiyan legend is also here. We just need to make it happen.
You're insane! A Super Saiyan is born every 1,000 years!
And you said it could be either one of us now that 1,000 years has passed. It's worth a shot.
We studied the transformations throughout the eons as you evolved. It is triggered by anger, preferably the loss of someone or something, or the fear that turns into rage. One Saiyan was on the brink of death, but he didn't have enough purity in him to achieve it during Frieza's attack on planet Vegeta.
And you knew this all along?
Shut up! He's helping us right now! Any way to trigger it by going in blind?
Try to channel your ki and thinking of something that pisses you off. Then release it all at once.
Well then, Raditz, let's train then.
Right.
They then go off to a remote area to practice. Meanwhile, Goku, Vegeta, Nappa, Krillin, Gohan and Trunks are on Frieza's ship. All of a sudden they sense a very strong power level far away from their location. Even Frieza is concerned and goes to investigate, as well as the Z fighters. Both groups find Raditz seemingly powering up, as the hair is getting spikier and blonde, and eyes are turning green. He stops when they see Frieza and the crew. Tarble gets right in front of him and transforms into a Super Saiyan, initiating a battle with Frieza. Since his power level was already off charts, getting a massive Zenkai with a newfound power makes him basically indestructible. With that, the fight begins. Frieza went ahead and powered up a massive attack, which he fired. Tarble reflected it with such ease and precision that he basically repelled the attack right back at Frieza. Frieza was speechless that a mere monkey child can repel the attack of that magnitude. He was pissing his pants, but Tarble remembered his family back on his home planet as he went in front of the cum-stained lizard and punched him hard enough he cracked and likely broke a few spine discs. Tarble, now enraged as fuck, rushes to finish the job. Frieza tried powering up more to counter it, but Tarble broke through the aura Frieza was pushing out and landed another punch, which actually managed to paralyze the cum stain. Frieza had nothing to say to the younger prince, so Tarble put all of his rage into one big attack. He completely dominates and disintegrates Frieza, not leaving a single cell behind. With that, they have destroyed Frieza. Vegeta was mad he didn't become a Super Saiyan legend, born every 1000 years, but then he remembers that Raditz also went Super Saiyan, and asks Tarble how to turn into one. Before he could explain, Dende comes rushing, saying that Guru has died. Tarble was quite sad to hear the news, but they have guardians left and right who can revive their set of Dragon Balls. After a bit of arguing back and forth, they settle on Cargo, Dende's friend. They have returned home safely after the incident, and everything has been peaceful for about a year. All of a sudden, Vegeta senses a very familiar and strong power level. Raditz then follows. The two Saiyans then both go to the area where they sense the power levels, but as they're flying to there, they sense another exponentially growing power level in the same area. They know something is up and they hurry up to the location. They arrive and see something unusual. That is, King Cold and what appears to be Trunks fighting with only one difference. That is, that Trunks is taller and his hair is blonde and spikier than usual. Basically, Super Saiyan. He's handling King Cold with relative ease. King Cold gets punched through by Trunks and blasted to nothing. Trunks was then about to head off, but Vegeta was right in front of him within seconds.
When did you grow? More importantly, you can also turn into a Super Saiyan at such young age? Yeah, well, what is this? A Super Saiyan bargain sale? Hold up, why did you wish to be taller? You wasted away. Shut the fuck up and let me talk! Yes, I am Trunks, but not for this timeline. I was brought here by my time machine. I kind of need to talk to Goku as well about something. But anyways, I am from the future.
What's going on? Looks like Trunks. Could he really be from the future?
Yes, Uncle.
He's asking for all of us to come.
I have something
Wanna
to
surprise
talk to
him?
everyone about. As well as Goku.
You were asking for me, future Trunks.
Yeah, now when you're all here, I have to tell you something first. In 3 years, on May 12th at 10 AM near South City, powerful foes will appear and tear the earth apart. They destroy the whole earth and wreak havoc all over the place. As for you, Goku, here.
What's that?
Medicine. You will get a heart virus soon. Take it when you get it, and you will survive. In my timeline, it's the virus that got you, so we never stood a chance. The only survivors are me and my mother. I gotta go now. Take care.
With that, future Trunks leaves and our squad begins plotting their next move. They decide to train for the next 3 years. 3 years pass and they're ready for the androids. They get to the outskirts and wait. We see Bulma with a child, of course. The androids arrive and with that, they go in the city. They find 19 and 20 and tell them to go in the outskirts to fight. They agree and depart. Vegeta and Goku turn Super Saiyan and start picking them apart accordingly. Vegeta notices Goku being slightly out of breath and asks him if he's good. Goku just says he is and continues fighting. Once the time came for 20 to die, he's nowhere to be seen. Suddenly Goku falls down and grabs his chest in pain, knowing the virus has finally struck his heart. Yamcha, now healed from a pain he endured in the city, goes and takes Goku away while they search for 20. Goku is in his room with Yamcha, Yajirobe and Bulma, panicking as to what's going on, and Yamcha explains that he just collapsed from a heart virus and went out like a dead light bulb. Meanwhile, Tarble is trying to sense the android, but fails to do so. However, after a bit of searching, Krillin notifies everyone how he found Jiro's lab. At the same time, future Trunks arrives and sees the Z Fighters, letting the nostalgia take over for a little bit before descending. Everyone looks at Trunks. They explain how they fought an old man and a fat cum stain. Trunks then went into further, saying those weren't the real androids. During all the babble, the door opened to reveal the new addition, or better said, the real androids, and Jiro's head on the ground. The new androids ignore everyone and just depart on their merry way, but Trunks doesn't let them as he fires a massive blast at them, just to see them unscathed. The androids then depart towards Goku, who is fighting for his life at that very moment. The squad is planning their next move, thinking that maybe Goku is safe. Trunks intervenes, saying they have to relocate Goku to a safe area. Vegeta recommends his house, Raditz recommends Kame House, and Tarble recommends a place which the androids don't want to visit again, Jiro's lab. Tarble got praised for such a creative idea, and they went to town relocating him. Bulma might even get a chance to lurk around the lab to see what Jiro's been doing all these years. Once they do find it, Bulma goes straight to research. She finds an embryo and is actually amazed Jiro was in the middle of creating yet another android. Tien calls up Trunks to get to him, saying he found his time machine and asks why didn't he put it in a capsule. Trunks is confused, so he goes to see if his time machine is there. Future Trunks is shocked because there's only one time machine in existence, which is the one he has in his pocket as a capsule. When he got to the place where the machine was found, Future Trunks confirms that it was his machine. However, it looked aged with moss and had damage to the dome. Damage showing that someone or something blasted his way out. Soon Gohan discovers an exoskeleton of some disgusting looking creature. Soon, all the Z fighters sense strange and familiar power levels from far away. Also, there is a news report depicting that a local suburban district population completely vanished. All that was revealed was scattered clothing about everywhere and signs of struggle. Tien arrives shortly after as Piccolo explains the situation of Cell to Vegeta, and Vegeta is angry that everything is surpassing him, the Super Saiyan of legend. Vegeta then vows to surpass the limits of Super Saiyan and flies off, huffing and puffing. Future Trunks and Tarble too leave to destroy the imperfect Cell that is probably growing in his timeline to prevent another imperfect Cell later. Meanwhile, Piccolo and Tien search desperately for imperfect Cell, knowing that he has hidden his key and is ever getting stronger by absorbing more victims. Bulma is let know of the situation and puts 2 and 2 together, thinking that the embryo is probably Cell. In the meantime, Cell has become semi-perfect and beat Piccolo quite a bit. Vegeta, full of pride still, goes towards Cell to have a fight with him, thinking Piccolo is still weak. So he goes. Once he arrives, he sees Cell for the first time. With Vegeta and Cell having a short stare down, they begin the battle. Vegeta was heavily underestimating the creature, as he got pounded down like a slaughtered animal. The rest of the gang came and saw the ongoing battle, and were cringing hard. He knew he can't keep up as good as he thought, so Vegeta goes Super Saiyan and continues the battle, eagerly waiting for Cell to be defeated, so he can rid the world of those androids once and for all. But he wasn't making much dent at all. Vegeta didn't even surpass Cell in the slightest, but Cell revealed his true height anyways. Cell then went to town, basically destroying Vegeta in combat, as Vegeta falls to the ground. Cell then asks if any of them would like to die by him as well, but just as he was about to finish the sentence, Goku, who just barely recovered, went and did a solar flare, took Vegeta and pretty much everyone there and ditched, knowing none of them stand a chance, including 18 and 16. They were taken to Capsule Corp after they agreed not to hurt Goku in any way until all of this is done for. Goku then changes the topic, asking about the time chamber. He mentions they can use it, but was limited by Kami, who is now fused with Piccolo. Vegeta, thinking of something, comes up with a concept of a new guardian. So he goes and flies to Namek with the help of his old pod, and once he arrives, he asks for a new Earth Guardian, and he meets Dende. The two then get to know each other a little more, and the two then return back as quickly as they came. Once the two came back, they meet Dende and get to know him, as well as signing a contract. Goku then gets straight to the point, and asks for the Dragon Balls to be restored, and for the time chamber to be given no limits, because they have a new threat on Earth that was shrouded in total darkness. Dende says he can do it with ease. Hearing the news, the boys prepare for the venture and they fly to the lookout. Upon arrival, Gohan mentions how they need a plan if they want the training to be perfect. Vegeta simply ignores it and goes in the chamber by himself, exiting a day and a half later. Vegeta then tells the rest to train their muscles off in the meantime. Goku and Gohan enter, and after a few hours, Vegeta senses something disturbing. He thinks about Cell perhaps finding and absorbing 18, becoming perfect. Vegeta uses that new Super Saiyan form he acquired in the chamber and attacks Cell. Much to his surprise, nothing. Cell then kicks him down unconscious, with Vegeta heavily bleeding and left to die by Cell. Goku and Gohan exit the chamber and go to fight Cell. The two then went towards Cell, and once they found him, Gohan proceeds to pummel his ass left and right with a new form he acquired alongside Goku. Vegeta looks on in utter confusion as Super Saiyan 2 Gohan fires a massive wave, hitting Cell and defeating him. Everyone else descended to see Gohan has defeated Cell, leaving 18 the only one remaining. Krillin takes a chance and takes 18, feeling that she might change. With that, the squad defeated the androids, more or less, and Trunks goes back to the future and successfully defeats the androids, including Cell. It's been about 7 years after Cell, and Gohan is now an adult, as well as Trunks. Goku, Vegeta, Tarble, and the rest of the Saiyans are just hanging out at Capsule Corp most of the time, either training or just screwing around. Videl keeps on pursuing Gohan, eventually getting him to spit out the energy part of it. Videl wants to learn about it, and so the first bond between the two is set in place. Back to Gohan, Videl asks Gohan to meet somewhere to teach him that energy thing, and Gohan reluctantly agrees. All of a sudden, the rest of the squad get the message about the tournament and they decide to participate. So they go and do some training for the tournament. Meanwhile, a few days later, Videl arrives at Gohan's residence through the school directory, being tired of waiting for the lessons, and Gohan has no other choice but to teach her. Goten also asks to join, and Gohan takes him along as well, much to the displeasure of Videl's. Videl mentions that if he doesn't want it to be exposed, he needs to join the tournament, and Gohan agrees, being presented no other choice. After Videl gets a basic idea of ki control and a bit of training, the two spar and Gohan accidentally flies back to dodge an attack. Goten doesn't know how to fly and he attempts to ask how to do it, but is cut off by Videl, of course. Videl asks how did he jump back so smoothly, now needing to show her the flying technique as well. Videl, now understanding the full extent of energy, then pursues him to teach her flight as well, and he does. Goten, still not knowing how to fly, asks of Gohan to teach him too. Now having two students in his tow, he decides to train them both. Once he teaches them, Videl goes to train on her own, while Goten and Gohan train on their own. 25 days later, they all go to the tournament grounds. However, two new and unknown people meet up with them and just stand there, calmly looking at our squad while Vegeta and others glance at them from time to time nervously. The children's division goes smoothly and it's time for the big boys. Since pretty much everything is similar to canon, I'll go over the important parts. Piccolo takes on who we later find out is Shin. He fights him and wins easily, even though he was weirded out by Shin's mere presence and started questioning himself as to what he actually is. So they thought of it as a big deal. When it came to time for Kibito to fight Gohan, even Shin himself isn't sure if he's gonna be able to hold him. He somehow managed to hold him as Popovich and Yamu were stealing his energy. Popovich and Yamu then fly off, and Vegeta also follows, as well as Gohan, Goku, Tarble, Videl, Raditz, Shin, and Kibito. They all assemble in one squad and talk about Majin Buu and how, if he's released, he will terrorize the whole planet. Of course, no one took it seriously. When they do arrive, they can see Shin and Kibito shook, one small boy and one demon creature standing right in front of them. Vegeta asks who does he have to take down, and Shin monotonely and in shock to waste them all. Vegeta gets out of the opening, but Trunks goes Super Saiyan 2 and goes at them, wasting the demon first, then Babidi. After those terrifying few minutes, Raditz comes out of the lighting he created with bulging veins, eyeliner, and an M on his forehead. Vegeta figured that Babidi made Raditz one of his goons and that he is now evil. Raditz blames Vegeta for being weak or whatever and demands a fight. Vegeta asks of Goku to fight his brother right when he finishes Yakon, as Vegeta dies in the depths of ship. However, he feels something odd, which then turns into an earthquake. Vegeta is then kicked out of the ship into the sky, followed by a pink blob. Vegeta has never seen a power this huge before, thinking this might actually be Majin Buu. Shin and the others who got out watch in horror as they see Vegeta and Majin Buu go face to face. Goku is still fighting Raditz, regardless of the circumstances. Both Goku and Raditz go Super Saiyan 2 and escape to the outskirts to fight it out. Vegeta is surprised that Buu is so strong. Buu tries to shoot a ki blast, but Tarble comes in and reflects it. Tarble then proceeds to try to reason with Buu. Buu simply doesn't give a shit and blasts him to the ground and leaves the area. The rest try to follow, but Buu is just way too fast for them. From here, the events go pretty much the same. Buu meets Satan B, and Buu gets triggered. Then Buu is suddenly on the ground, screaming out bloody murder until finally he expelled evil from within. Satan got confused as to which Buu is which, and the two Buus battle it out, and to say they're going at it is an understatement. Two Buus then have a wave battle. The evil one wins, of course, and becomes Super Buu. Goku mentioned how he might have found a way beyond the Super Saiyan 2 transformation, and he can really use a sparring partner this time. And he takes Vegeta and goes to the now improved Time Chamber to train there for Buu. Gohan also finished with the Supreme Kai and went to the battlefield, also carrying 2 earrings. He met up with his father, Vegeta, and Tarble. Gave Goku Putaras and told him what they're for. Gives them to Vegeta. The now powered up warriors are ready to rumble. Gohan was told to go first, sensing the immense power coming from him, higher than theirs. So they thought he might have a chance. Everything goes really well until Goku is absorbed out of nowhere. Gohan is now in one heck of a pickle, as Bukarat has overpowered Gohan so much that he too gets absorbed. Tarble and Vegeta both turn Super Saiyan 2. Vegeta tried plotting to go Super Saiyan 3 and tried to take down Super Buu, but as he transforms, he too realizes what might happen. Tarble then steps in, letting his brother escape to seek more power in the Time Chamber. Vegeta, however reluctant, gives a Potara to his brother. Vegeta tells Tarble what he's been told about fusion, minus the misunderstanding of permanent fusion. With that, the two fuse into Tarbjeta. Despite the lack of power in Tarble, it was backed up by the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, who was in the form prior to the fusion. Having that combined with the power of fusion, the two were unstoppable. Buhan has now adjusted to his new body and power. With that, the two begin fighting, and of course it's clear that Tarbjeta is dominating Buu like a pest, despite Buu having 2 new power-ups. Getting right into every trap Buu's got for the newborn fusion, he's always getting out of it. He knows that they got to save their friends, who are within Buu. So they plot a plan, much like Vegeta did in canon, and enter Buu's body. Once inside, they didn't unfuse right away. Rather, they got to Gohan, Goku, and the rest who got absorbed, and released them from their respective cocoons. Tarbjeta had just enough time to escape Buu's body and blast Buu away from good. So with that all set and everyone happy for once, they return to their daily routines, with Buu completely gone. However, they don't know what might be coming for them in the future, and that something might pose a threat to the whole Earth. With Beerus now awakened from his nap 4 years after the Z Fighters defeated Frieza, he's thinking about a prophecy of a Super Saiyan God, and he's on his way to find a deity that has the power rivaling his. He goes to destroy a bunch of planets with Whis, but thinks nothing of it until the explosion reminds him, and makes him forget the second later. The two then go back to speak to the Oracle Fish, and they finally find the name of that Super Saiyan God, which is the Super Saiyan God. Whis mentions a bunch of remaining Saiyans still alive and well on planet Earth. In particular, Goku, Vegeta, Tarble, and the rest of the half-breeds. With the two now ready with lunchboxes in tow, they go there. On Earth, party was popping, and Bulma's birthday was just getting started. Vegeta was there too, with his own woman, Goku and Chi-Chi, as well as Tarble. who is slacking on his training just a bit to spend time with his loved ones. Vegeta was just chilling with his soon-to-be wife when they both sensed some kind of presence lurking upon them. After a bit, Whis and Beerus revealed themselves and explained their arrival. Vegeta recognized his face and remembered everything instantaneously. Now when the two have met, Beerus joined in the party and tried many cuisines of Earth. Vegeta explained to everyone who Beerus really is and his temper issues. They now know what they're up against if they mess with him. After a long time partying, Beerus remembered what he's actually here for and explains his prophecy. The fear strikes the sea fighters. Sweat goes cold, but they all know they gotta obey unless they want to get destroyed. So they think through it and Tarble thinks of wishing the Super Saiyan God to Earth. Goku immediately whips out the Dragon Balls that are being kept as a prize and proceeds with the summoning. Shenron is summoned and Goku asks for a Super Saiyan God, but Shenron can't really fulfill the wish and rather tells them of the ritual. With that, they proceed with the ritual, with Goku being the subject they are doing the ritual on. After a spectacular show of lightning, weather and daytime changes, the Super Saiyan God is born. With Goku and Beerus having a little chit chat, they ascend to the sky and begin the fight. The first couple blows were kinda foul on Goku's end, since he's still adapted to handling so much power in his grasp. With each passing blow, the two adapted to each other's speed and strength as Goku pushed more and more power into his attacks as he adapted. The more power they exerted, the higher in the atmosphere they went, eventually ending up in space. The two progressed with their fight. Goku and Beerus stand facing each other, staring down one another. Goku gradually begins glowing, slowly emitting a fiery red aura, and then launches towards Beerus. Goku delivers a massive punch, but Beerus intercepts it, causing a huge shockwave. Angered, Beerus delivers a heavy punch to Goku's abdomen and follows up with a ferocious kick, one that sends him flying through West City. Goku stops himself mid-air, but before he can counterattack, Beerus attacks from behind and puts him into a headlock. Beerus then quickly whirls around him, proceeding to kick Goku off into a nearby forest and then gives chase. Goku and Beerus continue battling in the forest when Beerus sends Goku soaring with another kick straight to the face. Beerus gives chase once again and the two end up in a mountainous desert area surrounded by large rock formations. Goku and Beerus charge at each other and their punches collide, sending out an earth-shattering shockwave. They pull away from each other and a trickle of blood falls from a cut on Goku's cheek. Beerus questions Goku on whether or not he's still dissatisfied with godhood, and Goku confirms that he is. However, Beerus then admits that he too is overall dissatisfied, having been fighting nowhere near his full strength. Goku is astonished, having been fighting about 80% of his full strength. Now realizing Goku is also holding back, Beerus charges and begins vigorously pummeling him. Suddenly Goku's red aura disappears and he reverts to his normal state. The two continue their battle, with Goku utilizing instant transmission in order to counter Beerus' increased speed. Beerus then unleashes a barrage of ki attacks that Goku barely manages to dodge. Goku manages to come around Beerus' side and is able to strike him hard in the gut. Now truly angry as fuck, Beerus fires off countless energy blasts in every direction. Goku tries to dodge all the boulders falling from above, but he's quickly overwhelmed. He then suddenly bursts out as he transforms into a Super Saiyan. He has no clue what's even happening and is about to give up, but then lets the rage of his take over when he thinks of his loved ones. Powering up one last time, he shoots a one final Kamehameha at Beerus, having a wave struggle for quite a bit until his body finally gave up. Vegeta caught the fast falling Goku and Beerus descended himself, wanting to destroy Earth much to Goku's pleading. Beerus, quote unquote, fell asleep and Whis took him along back home, under the condition he'd be back for those delicacies of this planet so he could try those out later. After a bit of peacetime, Shin came to Earth to warn the Saiyans about Beerus and what he can really do. Realizing that he's much more powerful than he displayed against Goku, cold sweat runs down their cheeks when they hear that, knowing they have no chance. However, Whis comes out of nowhere with Bulma. Tarble just as high, and Vegeta is a bit weirded out. Vegeta lets his pride take over and asks Whis to take him to Beerus to challenge him again, despite the whole squad telling him not to. He eventually listens to his wife Amy and gives up, but he's still triggered. Whis tells Vegeta his flaws during training and how to improve them. Vegeta, although prideful, asks to be trained, much to the amazement of the guys around him. Whis is reluctant, but then demands food for training. Vegeta tries everything he can, almost giving up. But then the ramen time came and Whis enjoyed every bit of it. With that, Vegeta got accepted to train with Whis. Tarble also asked to join for some other food. Whis thinks through it and decides to take them both in, without any other food. On Beerus' world, they began their training and did some energy control training right from the start, knowing Tarble can control it really well and Vegeta can pick it up really fast. Whis goes to Earth to get some more high quality food / recipes and encounters Goku, who asks to be trained. Whis accepts him without second thought. Goku and Whis return back and Tarble was happy to see Goku. Vegeta, on the other hand, wasn't so amused. All three then began their rigorous training. Back home, Pilaf and the gang have finally assembled all the Dragon Balls together. However, the now defunct Frieza Force has decided to revive Frieza, to bring the feeling of fear and terror back in the universe. Once they descended on Earth, they landed right next to the Pilaf gang and requested of them to summon Shenron. Them being scared did so and Frieza was wished back in one piece. Of course, there's no way Frieza wasn't sensed by the Z-Fighters. They knew exactly who it is and rushed to the spot, but by the time they got there, Frieza and his goons were long gone. They saw the Dragon Ball scatter and Pilaf standing there with a bow and 100,000 Zenny. In space, Frieza vowed he will rid the universe from Saiyans and proceeded to train for 4 months, while Goku just began proper training with others, as they've been there for a whole 6 months. During training, they tapped into God Ki and managed to transform to Super Saiyan gods at will and then took it to the god level of Super Saiyan. 10 months after they first started, they have nothing else to learn except achieve what's called Ultra Instinct. We stole them off when they were sparring with him. Frieza also finished his training and set course on Earth. And on Earth, the Z-Fighters felt the energy descending on Earth, but didn't believe the power they sensed from Frieza 4 months ago is the same. They arrived on the scene and held off the goons, while Bulma called Whis to come as fast as possible. Whis finally answers and hears the commotion. Just then, Gohan and Trunks powered up, and Goku sensed it. He grabs Tarble and Vegeta and instant transmissions to Earth. Bulma is finally happy as well as Gohan and Trunks, who were struggling with now re-switched Captain Ginyu. Vegeta went ahead and rushed at Frieza and kicked him away, now having a chance to take a crack at Frieza for the destruction of his race. Vegeta and Frieza had a stare down at one another, having despised one another the entire time and both wanting to take revenge, seeing who's better, I guess. A monkey or a cum-stained lizard? With that little stare down, the two began fighting. Vegeta was in base, while Frieza was in his final form right from the start as the two were on par with each other. With each blow, however, Vegeta was just slightly dominated and had no other choice but to show Frieza what he's really made of. Once they come to a standstill, Frieza speaks, asking him to go all out. Vegeta makes sure he really wants him to go full power, and with that, Vegeta powers up with a nice, bright blue flash of light as he transforms into Super Saiyan Blue. Frieza was quite impressed although, not being able to sense the energy coming from Vegeta, but regardless, Frieza started powering up too, as his aura began shining gold and his power increased hundreds of times a second. At long last, Frieza transformed into his golden form, and with the two titans at their peaks, they continued the battle. The two were quite literally on par with each other, and there was no clear winner for a long while until Vegeta sensed something. Frieza's crippling power. Vegeta took advantage of it and began pummeling Frieza into oblivion. Frieza was defenseless at this point and tried every trick up his sleeve to try and win. Frieza was then on the ground, having lost his golden form, so Vegeta gave him a bit of advice for the future. His mistake of coming to Earth right after getting that power instead of training and honing the power to make it feel natural to him, so he doesn't experience body strain and energy loss as quick as this was. Frieza was still hopeful and thought he might trick him with a beam sorbet fired at him. Due to Vegeta's tensive battle mentality, he easily dodges the beam and then kills Sorbet right on the spot. He then turns back to Frieza, explains why he was destined to beat him, and makes sure he does, by destroying the hell out of Frieza without second thought, having been blinded by rage and hopes of all Saiyans. With that, Frieza was no more. Vegeta came victorious and Amy welcomed him with open arms, getting right to the point that she's having a baby with him and how she left the Galactic Patrol just to become a full-time wife, despite her Saiyan instincts. Vegeta was ecstatic hearing the news and couldn't wait for him to finally have a child of his own. They all had a big feast at Bulma's after that. It's been a while since the Frieza incident, and the trio is back on Beerus' world, thinking what to do next. Actually beginning to train and learn the properties of Ultra Instinct when Champa showed up with his shitty eggs. He got introduced to ramen and he gobbled it all down much like I gobble my monster energies. Champa then thought it would be a good idea to have a tournament to decide who gets the Earth. The prize? Super Dragon Balls, which are planet-sized Dragon Balls in a nutshell. Now knowing the first ever set of Dragon Balls exists, the trio couldn't wait to battle yet another universe to see where they stand. So the plan was set. A tournament similar to the Tenkaichi Budokai, held on some back-ass planet where no one can interrupt, with 5 strong and capable fighters to fight to their best. So, the planning and everything else has commenced. Goku, Tarble and Vegeta are in. Piccolo got in pretty quickly and Gohan too. With that, they're pretty much ready, but they're waiting on the other universe to do the same. Once they did, a couple days later, they're ready to rumble. Once they arrive, they see nothing but a dirt ground on some planet that no one cares about. The first meetup with the fighters competing from another universe, seeing a Saiyan on board, our trio is interested in seeing the lone Saiyan just going at it, expecting nothing much but a good fight to say the least. With that, next comes a written exam, and Goku is as stupid as always, counting on his fingers, while everyone else passes with flying colors, except Goku, who barely passed it. Then, at long last, the actual tournament starts, and the first to go is of course Goku, and he enters the arena. He goes up against Botamo, and the round goes pretty much the same as in canon. Frost is up next and does his usual trickery. Piccolo is up next and he does pretty much the same as in canon. Piccolo notices the wound on his arm and calls it out, Goku confirming the similar spot on his arm. Frost is then called out and the referee proves it. Frost is then called out and the referee proves the conspiracy and is disqualified from the tournament. Vegeta doesn't go for him though, just because he disposed of Frieza and has no intent of teaching yet another Frieza his lesson. But Tarble does step in though, basically stealing canon Vegeta's intents, as he goes in Super Saiyan 2 and completely dominates Frost to the point of oblivion. With that settled, next up to fight Tarble is Automagetta, and he handles him like Vegeta would, but without his pride fits. Then is that one Saiyan that is similar to him, Kaba. The two commence in base and work their way up, powering up constantly. However, when it came time for Kaba to step it up to Super Saiyan, he couldn't because he doesn't know how to do it. So Tarble teaches him the way he learned it, which is energy control combined with anger. Kaba succeeds and the two begin fighting again. In less than just a few minutes fighting, Kaba steps it up to Super Saiyan 2 and gives Tarble a hard time for a second, before he himself transformed to Super Saiyan 2 and continued the battle. The two then came to the conclusion that they are both on par. Or so they thought, as Tarble whips out his Super Saiyan Blue and knocks Kaba out almost instantly by a neck chop. Next up was Universe 6's last fighter, Hit. He went in and got Tarble into a corner even with his Super Saiyan Blue. He didn't stand a slightest chance. Tarble got knocked out the same way Kaba was knocked out, so Vegeta stepped in. He realized by combining that previous experience with predicting, he might stand a chance. That wasn't as long lasting, as Hit powered up his kill in the midst of battle and proved dominant over Vegeta, eventually knocking him out too by a lethal blow, for which Vegeta needed the Senzu Bean. Goku then came in after he was allowed to participate due to being poisoned, and then he combined Vegeta's experience and observation with his ace in the hole, which is Kaioken, as he initiated his ace and began overpowering Hit after a slight warm-up. Goku first used Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 2 and went to town pretty much trying to overpower Hit, but he kept improving his skill as Goku kept increasing his Kaioken multiplier up to times 10. Goku thought he won't be able to hold it for very long, and he was right, as his body started giving up on him, much like in canon. After a short stare down and all that, they appreciated just how the two are so good and on par. Beerus and Champa then started fighting all of a sudden, and Goku dropped out, which left Piccolo as the only contestant to remain as he got into a ring, with ideas and combos flooding his head. But before anything, Hit landed outside the ring, proclaiming Piccolo the winner out of mutual respect towards Goku. With that, Universe 7 won, and as the two destroyers went to down bickering, the Omni King showed up, berated the two, and told them about him wanting to have another tournament with every universe in it. Goku agreed, and they got on their merry way. With that, everything went as similar as per canon from there. Now that everything is back to its normal ways, our boys are just chilling. Goku went to Zeno's palace to play with Zeno, and he became friends with the little god. Zeno gave him a button to give him the ability to play with him anytime Goku wants. Vegeta has now become a father as Amy gave birth to a baby daughter, Ashalot. All was peaceful and Vegeta finally got used to fatherhood. However, happiness didn't last as long. In the future, Trunks is running away from a foe similar to Goku, to which Bulma dies to save Trunks so he can go back in the past timeline. He makes it just in time as he appears behind Capsule Corp. Since the whole crew is already there, they get startled and decide to take a look. They open the machine and set future Trunks on a table so he regains consciousness. Once he did, he hyperventilated a little, but after seeing that it's not his timeline, he calmed down. Whis, Beerus, Vegeta, Tarble, and Goku looked at Trunks, and Trunks mistook Goku for someone and attacked him, but to no effect. Bulma then smacked him on his head, and Trunks came to his senses and apologized. He then explained what happened to his timeline, and you all know where this is going. Goku Black, of course. At that moment, like summoned, Goku Black appears from his rift and sees Trunks and the rest. Goku goes to fight him and the battle commences. Goku turns Super Saiyan and starts trashing Black for a while. Black then abuses his powers and gets a boost. Black gets stronger with every blow. After a bit, the rift starts reacting and starts pulling Goku Black through, but he still continues to fight and observe. Goku then turns Super Saiyan 2 and then starts trashing Black once again. Time Rift reacts again and starts pulling Black through, but before he gets pulled through, he destroys the time machine. With that, Goku Black is gone, and Trunks is mad because the time machine is gone and they're thinking on how they're going to repair it. But then, Bulma remembers the old time machine, so she goes finds it and starts repairing it. Meanwhile, he visits Gohan and sees he has a family. He also meets Mr. Saiyan and, well, Hercule just flexes his skills. He then goes back and Mai comes out of the Capsule Corp and Trunks falls into tears. We then see a pedo Trunks doing his thing. Mai blushes a bit, but Kid Trunks comes out too and meets himself again. With all the commotion done now, Bulma mentions that the time machine is done. They all do the last bit of preparation, enter the machine and depart from there. They enter the future timeline and they see all the carnage that happened there. They then go underground to regroup, and on their way there, soldiers fired guns at them, thinking that Goku is actually Goku Black, but after the situation was explained, they calmed down. Trunks then saw Mai is still alive, but critically injured from distracting Black. Vegeta was shocked to see Ashalot was actually alive as well in this timeline. Trunks then asked Goku for a senzu bean, and when he got one, he did the life-saving smooch just like in canon. Goku was confused about kissing much like in the original. Mai recovered, and when she saw Trunks, she cried and hugged him. Vegeta then shouted for everyone to move and dropped a capsule which revealed an all-you-can-eat buffet for the people in the room. Everyone enjoyed it and thanked Vegeta. From there, they had no time to waste. They have to assess Black's power, so they go to find him. They shot a blast to signal the comeback, and Black is there in a second. They share a small stare down and then begin the fight. Vegeta goes first and displays Super Saiyan Blue and starts staring Black a new one. Black is having fun getting punched while Vegeta is making fun of him. Black then shows them Super Saiyan Rose and then pummels Vegeta to the ground. Goku then steps up with the Super Saiyan Blue and rushes Black. He gets a similar fate until someone arrives. That someone is Zamasu, and the two start bickering who is supposed to kill the Saiyan first. But then Vegeta punches through Zamasu and continues on the fight with Black. Zamasu heals his gaping hole in the abdomen and rushes Vegeta. Zamasu is handled easily, but the healing ability of his is a nuisance. Black, however, slowly starts catching up to Goku with his abuse of Zankai. Goku is losing his edge in a fight and energy. Zamasu also eventually overpowers Vegeta, having Vegeta down for the count due to, well, exhaustion, and sends him flying into a building. Trunks has a plan and commands them to go back to train and get ready to face the two again. And they do so. Back in the present timeline, they inform Whis about the situation and they get the intel needed. Whis notes how Black had a time ring, and with that, Whis, Beerus and Goku go investigate. In the meantime, Vegeta and Tarble are planning the next battle. They take into consideration Black's misuse of Zenkai and Zamasu's immortality. He comes up with a couple of plans and then goes to train. Back to Goku, they arrive at the Universe Stand's World of Kai's. Zamasu goes to greet them. Whis then explains the situation, but subtly. Goku asked for a sparring match and he gets it, knocking Zamasu down. Zamasu now vows to get rid of the mortals, and at this point of the story. During the ride back, they drop Shin on his planet and Goku goes back on Earth with Whis and Beerus. Vegeta asks of Goku to go into the time chamber with him, to the amazement of Goku's. So they go. After about 2 days, they emerge from the chamber and go to Capsule Corp. Bulma readies the machine for them and they go back to the future. They, of course, see Carnage, and they also sense Black right away, as well as Zamasu. Zamasu sends them too and rush to them. They then begin a fight, and this time Vegeta is first and he goes at Black. Goku attacks Zamasu and they're going at it. Energy is violent and destroys the buildings. Vegeta is handling Black really easily, while Black is having problems with him. Black then spews out some shit about mortals and shit. Black is mortified by the power Vegeta is displaying, and to say he is nettled out is an understatement. Vegeta then continues the fight, and Vegeta has overpowered Black big time, and even brings him to the brink of death. Vegeta then prepares a final flash and attempts to destroy Black, but he disappears, and so does Zamasu. They attempt to fuse, and they succeeded. At the same time, Shin and Gowasu arrive and see fused Zamasu. Shin gives the two Saiyans Patara to make it fair, and they put them on to fuse. Vegito is born and he begins destroying Zamasu. Once fused Zamasu was proper dealt with in an instant, the two Zamasus attempted to separate, but can't. He decides to fight as is, but Trunks steps in and fights corrupted fused Zamasu, eventually cutting him in half. However, despite the death of one Zamasu, one is immortal, remember, and is engulfing the whole universe in his own presence. The guys attack, but nothing happens. Absolute Zamasu then proceeds to trash the entire Earth. Despite their best efforts, they really can't do anything. Except one thing. Goku's Zeno button. He knows he has something in his pocket and pulls it out, telling Zamasu is the end of the road for him. Pressing the button, Zeno appears and Goku explains, and Zeno proceeds to destroy now absolute Zamasu. They make it back just in time to escape the destruction. Goku asks to be taken back to pick future Zeno up, and they do so. Now, not only present Zeno has a friend, but they got rid of the enemy sooner because the events evolved a bit later than canon. With that, they're back to their training. With Zamasu now gone, they are just chilling at Capsule Corp, having nothing else to do, and so they enjoy some peace at last. Goku goes to farming for a bit before getting bored and a bit rusty, and then goes to train on Beerus' planet. He asked about Zeno holding a tournament, and Beerus says that the Omni King isn't a person to play with, but Goku doesn't give a shit and presses the button anyways. Tarble and Vegeta also arrive on Beerus' planet to train for a bit, and find out about Goku going to ask Zeno about the tournament. And they're kinda triggered and scared because Zeno isn't a deity Goku can fuck around with. Goku asks Zeno of that and everything goes smoothly on his end, but not so smoothly when he goes back to Beerus' world as he gets punched for even considering going to Zeno. Goku then asks to be taken to the Kaioshin realm and they go there. Soon Daishinkan arrives and announces a tournament of power, along with its rules and regulations, along with the universe destruction and all of that. Of course, everyone is scared about it. Daishinkan leaves and they start planning on how to actually win after they come back to their senses. But first, they have to prepare for the Zeno Expo to see if Zeno will actually like it. Everything goes as in the original except Vegeta gets in instead of Buu like in canon. Everything goes similar to canon, and once done they began preparations for the tournament. They get 4 obvious picks, those being Goku, Gohan, Tarble and Vegeta. With Vegeta refusing at first as his second baby is literally due. They then ask Amy, but she says she's dropped her fighting unless they really need her. So Whis goes and does his magic. They invite Piccolo to do it too, and they assemble the androids and Krillin along the way, as well as Tien. They look at Roshi to do it and he's in. However, they're short of 2 fighters, so Amy is then convinced to join and Roshi is taken in too because of his wisdom and techniques. With 10 warriors gather up, they start training. Goku and Gohan go in the chamber and train their asses off first, as well as bonding just like in the Cell Saga. And then Vegeta decides to train with his brother and they come out tired but happy and seemingly ready for the tournament. Everyone else goes and trains on their own and get buffed up for the fight. Piccolo brings a few bottles as he comes up with a plan for an easy win, at least for Roshi. Having that out of the way, they're prepared to travel to the tournament arena. Upon arrival, they see a few familiar faces there. At this point, everything goes as in canon until Goku fights Jiren and gets beaten up badly, so he goes Ultra Instinct. However, the form lasts shorter than in canon and he soon falls. Tarble sees this and wonders what it might be. Thinking back, he remembers Whis telling him about a technique where the body reacts on his own and how even Beerus hasn't mastered it yet and he's a god. Seeing that his best friend accessed the form as sophisticated as that, he decides to learn more about it, so he goes to take a crack at Jiren. At first, he's getting nowhere, but he brings out his blue evolution and goes at it. He's getting nowhere, but he brings out his blue evolution he mastered with Vegeta in the time chamber and goes at it. But soon, he falls too. Tarble, like in every situation like this, is in his limbo. He fully relaxes and thinks nothing of since he really can't do anything. And so, he goes Ultra Instinct. And then goes after Jiren, having him on a leash. Vegeta sees this and also tries to do it, but is unsuccessful and gives up. Tarble runs out of stamina to keep the Ultra Instinct up, and then drops down. With that, they continue on with the battles, as in the original, and they're doing quite well considering what happened a few minutes prior. Roshi then goes towards Jiren. He takes great precaution and then rushes, dodging his invisible punches and actually landing his own, but gets nowhere after a while. Roshi then brings out his containment bottle and does the containment wave. However, he's unsuccessful and Jiren takes over the technique and attempts to seal Roshi, but Roshi knows how to disable it and is quick to do so. That did save him from getting sealed or thrown out, but it didn't save him from Jiren's quick punches. Roshi is there, laying on the ground ready to accept his fate, but Tarble and Goku come in to the rescue their old master. Vegeta goes to fight Toppo and is handling himself well, until Tarble starts unleashing more and more power. Vegeta, who is fighting his own battle, knows what to do. He goes Blue Evolution and continues with his fight. Meanwhile, Goku goes at Jiren, trying to access the instinct again. And he succeeds after getting a beating of a lifetime, and he actually does something with his time. He pushes Jiren quite a bit. However, he too goes down like in the original. Vegeta thinks he can go toe to toe with Jiren if he does the transformation too. So he tries himself, and this time his Saiyan pride isn't blinding him as much, and he gets a taste of Ultra Instinct. A very subtle and random taste, but he does it somehow. However, he can't really utilize it enough in his battle with Jiren, so he again uses his evolution to battle Toppo. Toppo eventually shows fruits of his training and goes offensive on the prince. Vegeta is finally cornered and is about to give up, but he remembers his promises to his family and friends, getting the necessary boost out of desperation and manages to knock Toppo to the ground before finally kicking Toppo out of the arena. Gohan is recovering a little from his fight along with Piccolo, but nowhere finished as he uses the low energy consumption along with the ultimate power of Mystic to his advantage and battles other contestants, beating them slowly but eventually. Goku is now cornered and has nowhere to go, so Jiren nearly kicks him out, having impressed and disappointed others. But Vegeta kicks Goku on the side. Tarble and Vegeta are on their own now as they battle Jiren. Tarble gets beaten up and so does Vegeta. Goku then appears, having exploded, followed by a massive aura as he goes into his third Ultra Instinct moment. He then goes and wears out Jiren, even going Master Ultra Instinct for that one attack, and once Goku started out, he lets everyone else take care of business. With that, Android 17, Vegeta and the boys are on Jiren in seconds, despite all of them being tired. Vegeta gets eventually kicked out too, and Gohan is knocked out cold, which leaves 17 and Tarble to deal with it. Vegeta gave his last bits of energy to his brother, and he made use of it, going evolution for the last charge, and 17 helps out as much as possible. They lure Jiren to the edge of the ring, then jump him and drag him out of boundaries. Gohan was the only one left. He wakes up just the right time and sees that they won. Gohan wishes for the universes to be restored, and with that, they return their reputation. After a short period of peacetime, Amy was minding her own business. She thought about more Saiyans in the universe and thought of the two who might be glad to join them. Vegeta hears a monologue and asks about them. She explains that they were sent to a planetoid called Wampa by his father because he thought one of them might surpass his offspring. He got a bit sad when they didn't pick them up when they were doing the Tournament of Power, but realized that they have the same old and weak power. Vegeta thought it might not be a bad idea to come pick them up and tell them about their new home. So Amy and Vegeta visit Tarble and tell him what they spoke of just now, which he relays to Bulma, and the plan was set. They ready the ship, and so the three Saiyans go to pick them up. They ask Amy of the names, and Amy says the older one is Paragus and his son starts with a B or something. When they get there, they're greeted with Paragus. Paragus gets mad seeing Vegeta, but Amy steps in. Seeing that, Paragus pulls back because he knew she was King's Royal Guard. All of a sudden, monsters come in and try attacking the Saiyans. But before Amy can turn Super Saiyan and dispose of them, Paragus calls out for Broly, who sends the monsters back in their place. Once that nuisance is out of the way, Paragus tells Vegeta his son Broly will take revenge. Vegeta says he doesn't want to fight and he's come here to rescue them. Not taking any of the stuff Vegeta said in, Paragus commands Broly to attack Vegeta, but Vegeta catches his fist. He explains that they didn't come to fight and that they came to help them out get out of this place. Broly seems to calm down and seems happy, but Paragus has none of it and commands Broly again, but to no avail. Paragus decides to shock his son to cooperate, and well, he does. They see Broly has been kept a slave on this planet, and Vegeta reacts quickly, working through the pain and rips the shocker off Broly's neck. Amy then explains they didn't come here to cause harm, but good, and advised them to follow along, as she knows this place is nothing but a shithole all around the place. They realize this makes actual sense, and they play along. During the trip back, Broly got introduced to water and other Earth food. Once back, the two were introduced to the Z Fighters, and they had a warm welcome. Broly was happy to see a society after all this time, and Paragus had finally patched up his relationship with Vegeta and his family.